Most people think the abomination of desolation is a single event. It's not. It is a pattern, a covenant engine pattern that repeats again and again across Scripture. It follows four unavoidable movements every time and no exceptions. So let's walk through it. First is the initiation. A covenant standard is given. It's clear, unambiguous, and non-negotiable. Eden, do not eat. Sinai, obey my voice. Temple, keep it pure. Yahusha, walk in my words. Covenant, guard the commands. Every abomination begins with a standard that people refuse to keep. Not sin in general, a specific covenant, a point of covenant loyalty that Yahusha draws the line around. And that's step one. Step two is contestation. A counterfeit voice rises to challenge the standard. This is the serpent in Eden. This is Jeroboam in Israel. This is Antiochus in the temple. This is Rome in 325, removing the Torah and changing the calendar. And this is the beast system, rewriting the truth and redefining loyalty. Contestation always attacks four things: identity, obedience, timing, and authority. If you track those four, you can spot the abomination before it lands. Third is exposure. The moment people choose the counterfeit, the heart gets revealed. Eden, Saul desired, took, ate. Israel traded covenant for idols, and priests profaned the sanctuary. Christians traded covenant for Rome, and the final generation takes the mark instead of the seal. Exposure does not create corruption, it reveals it. This is why the final abomination is not about one building or one leader, it's about allegiance. It is about who you bow to when the world shakes. And if you want the blunt truth, most people will expose themselves long before the beast ever shows its face. Fourth is reordering. Once the exposure is complete, judgment hits. Not random, not chaotic, but measured. Eden, exile. Israel, Assyria and Babylon. Temple, destruction. Rome system, desolation through war and collapse. And final generation, bowls, trumpets, fire, and earth convulsions. Reordering always does two things at the same time. It destroys the counterfeit and it protects the remnant. People love to talk about judgment, but they never talk about preservation. But in every cycle, the ones aligned with covenant survive the shaking. Judgment is how Yahuwah puts the world back on its rails. And here's the part that people hate. The greatest abominations in history were never created by outsiders. They were created by covenant people who refused covenant. Eden began in a garden. Israel fell inside its own temple. Rome's fall began inside the church. The final abomination will rise inside religion again. It does not come from atheists. It comes from people who claim to love God but reject His covenant. So let me tie this to what's coming. People imagine the abomination as some future surprise. Well, guess what? It had already started. The first half happened in 325 when Rome stripped the covenant and rewrote the calendar, outlawed Yahuwah's name, and erased Torah, and then rebranded everything under its own authority. That was contestation at a global scale. The second half arrives when the world collapses, people panic, and a counterfeit authority steps in, promising peace and order. The rapture myth will make millions fall for it instantly. And once the beast system rises, exposure moves fast. Loyalty is revealed, the seal versus the mark, the two sides and no middle. The reordering hits. It's not going to be symbolic, but physical. Earthquakes, fire, stars collapses, water judgments, kingdoms falling, world systems shattering, and the remnant survives. Not by escaping, by aligning. And that is the architecture.